Holy freaking cow, we actually get to see the Ducati on a motorcycle track. They released footage of testing. You've got Antonio Cairoli and Lupino riding the motorcycle. And the first thing that I notice is there's lots of data acquisition on the motorcycle. This is a prototype. It's not going to be a production bike that you get here in America. And I haven't decided, do I want a Ducati? Because it's probably going to be like Apple versus any other manufacturer. It's going to come with a pretty penny for sure. Or am I going to stick with the Stark that you guys know that I really like? Just the in the air is difficult. I haven't decided what manufacturer that I want to go with. I sort of want something new in my life. I've ridden Cowies and Hondas and really Austrian bikes for the last 6 motorcycles I have owned. So something new would be interesting. This is definitely a hybrid. It's taken some of the KTM concepts and the Honda concepts, and they've really made it their own. Where Triumph, where they started with a plain Honda, and they just sort of ran with it and somewhat changed some stuff. Anyway, the Triumph, those guys are doing well, but Ducati is definitely, in my opinion, here to take over. So let's see. I haven't seen this footage. This is a full-blown just reaction to it. I've been sent it hundreds of times at this point, so this is my first time actually watching it. Is there... Okay, those are those like get ignition dealios on top of them to see the starts. Looking at the handlebars, I can't tell. I'm sure it's going to be a hydraulic clutch. It's got some linkage on it, which is good. Bike looks clean. Red radiator guards with the black looks nice. They're sharp. You've got holes in for the airbox, which is nice. It's going to allow it to breathe more. 2 different bikes were set up differently. This one has a much different fat bomb, kind of like a Yoshimura fat bomb, where the other bike has got more of a FMF bomb to it. Electric start, obviously. They're going to be better than Suzuki for that. Guys hooking up to a laptop. I'm sure mapping it. This looks like Cairoli. How cool. I really like the box fan, too. These box fans, the way they have them set up with the Sprinters, just look nice. I wish I never sold mine. But, you know, I stopped racing, so... Let me turn this down just a bit. Oh, interesting that there was holes on the outer side of the number plate. Loamy, sandy dirt. These look like the first laps. Very rough. Very rutted. Totally different lines between 2 different riders. Cairoli went through the roughest. Lupino went to a much smoother line. You know that these guys, for as much as they're releasing this footage, this is a completely private track. They made sure that they bought it out so that they're the only 2 riders on here. Cairoli takes the same line. Nice that he pretty much kept his feet on the pegs basically the entire time. That's the difference with these guys riding on their toes nowadays than riding more on their heels. They're both just getting a feel for the track. It's hard to really compare this motorcycle to anything else because truthfully you could go out there with what's those kimono, the other Chinese brand that has a 450 or a 250 for like $6,000. You could make it look fast on a track by itself, but we really want to see how they do compared to other manufacturers. But that has a lot to do with the riders as well. And I think that's one of the reasons why Triumph hasn't had... They've only had 1 race. It would have probably been different if Savacci was able to still race the 250. And it's interesting that Triumph is releasing a 250 to race, but not a 450, and Ducati is starting with the 450. Very different examples. Maybe are they trying not to compete with each other? Or, it was a business decision for sure. Like how he didn't even drag the rear brake around the whole track. The track looks difficult to ride. It looks like it's hard to attack because of, yeah, there he goes, trying to stay on the pegs, and his left foot gets yanked. But a perfect track to test, because you get to test the suspension, how the ergonomics of it is going to feel around corners and in the air and on the bumps. Because truthfully, you can make anything feel fast and look good on a smooth track. Look at all the data here. Some grinding going on. Some custom foot peg action. Or is that on the frame? He's not letting us know. Okay, that's a foot peg. And I believe that was Antonio Cairoli's bike, where he was going, hey, the foot peg's sticking out too long. And this has had to have been hours upon hours of them testing these motorcycles. They are getting ready to start racing now. So, and who knows when this was actually filmed. It looks definitely after a massive rainstorm on the track. Track looks awesome, to be honest. And it's kind of cool that it's right there in the city. Tracks or bike sounds super strong. And judging by the shadows, this has got to be getting into the late afternoon here. Which, depending upon right now, it's fairly cold around the world because it's winter. So maybe they waited till mid-morning or something to actually start testing because, A, the track was probably too muddy to ride, and B, it was probably cold. It's interesting, it's been a while since Honda has had the patent for this cable where they used to have to wrap it all the way around weird, but now every bike has it because it's just better. But it looked like Cairoli was messing with that. They might potentially change that eventually. And these guys aren't just pounding out laps as fast as they can go. They're really trying to study the motorcycle and be aware of their surrounding and in the present moment so that they can make adequate adjustments to the machine. So they're definitely in test rider mode as opposed to race mode. Lupino is probably a little bit more trying to do a couple really, really hot laps because he's going to be the guy really racing it. But having Cairoli on the Ducati team is, I'm hoping that he charged a pretty penny to do that to get away from KTM. And KTM was not happy with it because, unfortunately, that was definitely probably burning a bridge. I would like to think not that they, that was a hard hit. You have to hit that hard to try to double that. I would like to think that because of how long he was with KTM and how many championships he won for KTM, they would have been, all right, we understand this is one of those opportunities. Boom. And that's the one thing about motorcycles is, unfortunately, a lot of these guys do have to burn some bridges. And the one that I have to think about right now is Enzo Lopes with burning the bridge with Club to go to Star. Is you only live so long, and I'm sure this was some financial ramifications for Antonio Cairoli to pick this, because that has to be a contributing factor. You got to take care of your family, and especially for your retirement now that he is retiring, right? So I hope that he didn't burn the bridge with KTM, but if there was a choice to go to Ducati and burn the bridge, I still think that Antonio Cairoli would take that opportunity, because there's just Ducati doesn't own the market share with motorcycles. With I should correct that. Oh, just push the front end. Correct that. With off-road motorcycles, with road racing, they do. So they have the capacity to infiltrate the demographic and make a big hit. So why not be a part of that? Where KTM already has. They've saturated the market with their huge Austrian brand with Gas and Husky. Did he bend the caliber? Interesting. Maybe these prototypes are much softer than we think. Or is he playing? He's playing with the foot peg. He's got a lot of dirt in the foot peg here. Man, because not only do they have to come up with a production bike, but then they have to manufacture a crap ton of parts and pieces to have for the race team and to ship around the world. So it's going to be hard to obtain one of these motorcycles. But again, Ducati has the fulfillment system in place. They will just need to send all of the, I would say, schematics for these pieces and parts to have their facilities just start to produce more dirt bike pieces and parts. Yeah, but I'm sure they tested many hours. We see they've got half the motorcycle apart here. They got the shock off. They got forks off. The chain is fairly loose. They're running a very loose chain. Oh, do you see they got duct tape on something here? That's what it looks like. It looks like just a bunch of duct tape. Maybe for gripper tape, or maybe they're holes in the airbox so that they don't get mud in that airbox. Here's Lupino. Looks like he's riding a little bit harder, for sure. And it's nice having two different test riders. And man, the track looks incredibly difficult because of the fact that, yes, it's muddy, but it's also hard pack as well. So if you're pushing, you can't push through a rut. I'm guessing they weren't the first people. Maybe there was already a race that happened here, and then they rented the track the day after or so. That's what it looks like. The motorcycle looks fast. Ooh, it clutching the crap out of that bike. But again, my overall thoughts is they're heading in the right direction. And we won't know for certain how far behind or ahead they are until we see them race against other manufacturers. So it's important for them to start small, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're not jumping straight into MXGP because it's a smart company. They know that they don't want to hurt the brand by coming up short. So if they can win or be top 3 in this Italian Grand Prix, then it's a win. But finishing 10th in an MXGP is probably not going to be the best for the brand. So, okay, Antonio Cairoli's putting in a couple hot laps now, it looks like. Oh, well, that was it. That was it. I don't know what else to say besides I have faith in Ducati, and we know that they're going to spend the money to make it happen. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And make sure that you subscribe and hit that like button. Wheel tap it for me. Bra da da da.